Where we going here? I'd like to share with you an obsession I've had that's pretty much consumed my life for the past, duration of life. That is a simple question: is what would it take to fake this? What would it take to fake reality? It turns out that not a lot. When was the last time that any of you verified that anything is real? How many of you walked in this room, sat down in a single chair, and then that's it? That was your interaction with this room. Why wouldn't it be? You don't need to touch the ceiling. You don't need to check if anyone else is real. We're just sort of pre-wired to assume that this is all really happening. Why wouldn't it be? That's the nature of reality, is to assume that reality is real. Every night, we individually go to sleep and hallucinate private utopias or personal hells that are created by our own minds. We call that dreaming. And that's sort of just par for course for humanity. We wake up and then blink it away and then forget that it happened. Sort of an interesting state of affairs that we find ourselves in. The sun in the sky, about however many millions of miles away, could explode at the speed of light, and everything would be normal for about 8 minutes on Earth. We'd feel the heat from the sun's rays, we'd feel the light, we'd see the light, we'd go about our days not knowing that the sun was gone out of the sky because of the delay that we experience. The senses, the mind's eye, work in a similar fashion where the speed of sound and the speed of light are completely out of sync with one another. It's our minds that sort of piece that together. By the time you see my face, by the time that you hear my voice, which is, by the way, not actually my voice, but a digital recreation, just as you see however many multiples of myself before you, that's completely out of sync. It's a hodgepodge sort of thing that your mind has pieced together into the theater of now. None of this really is how it seems. In my reality, I'm staring at a room full of people wondering what I'm talking about, and your reality is sort of the inverse of that, but each reality is kind of independent to one another. So that's always kind of perplexed me. What does that say about reality if it's so mutable, so malleable? How do we control any of this if it's some sort of lucid, waked dream? How do we control or direct the theater of now? It turns out that this pursuit is one of the oldest pursuits that mankind has ever known. We painted dreamed landscapes with dreamed creatures onto our environment, onto our world. These animals that you're seeing, they weren't posing dutifully next to a caveman. They were from the mind's eye. They were a projection, a memory of a moment that probably never was. None of these paintings were an accurate representation of something that happened. They were formed from emotion or reverence or hunger or fear for an animal that they never knew or that never really existed in this form, that looks like an animal but not like any animal we really know. It's an interpretation. It's sort of the artistic method is interpretation, not recreation. It's sort of baked in that recreating reality or recreating what we see in our mind's eye is deemed impossible. It's always going to be limited by the medium, limited by our own personal expression. This hasn't really stopped. This process of trying to manifest the mind's eye into our world has continued for ages, for millennia, since the cave days. Now we do what humans do. We commodify it. We have put it in a box. We call it a frame, and then we call it a masterpiece, and then now it's for sale. As we move forward through time, little has changed. We've managed to now make the pictures move. We call that a television set. Sort of also captured the essence of theater, only it's pre-recorded theater in a sense. We've kind of homogenized moments and then presented them again. It's funny because the mind, even though it's so ready to believe that nothing is fake, so readily accepts something that's so obviously fake. We're so easily sucked into a story. We lose ourselves into a story instantaneously if it's any good. Moving forward for time, very little has changed. The fidelity has increased of visual images. Television sets have gotten thinner. They now kind of look a lot like the original artwork, except that the roles are a little bit reversed, of where now we can display art on the television and now we hang still images as artworks. But otherwise, it's still picture boxes. We've increased fidelity. We're now at X number of K, 16K, 24K. This process will go on forever through resolution, where we'll simulate the appearance of things coming out of the box, but our desire to go into the box, to step inside the mind of someone else, to see what someone else has seen but have been limited to show you, is truly unsatisfied. I know as a child, my dream, my goal in life was to step inside the screen. I wanted to be an Inspector Gadget. I wanted to drive Inspector Gadget's car. That's all I really cared about, and little has changed as a 36-year-old man. But our ability to do so has not really evolved. 70 years ago, we had the brilliant idea in our forever pursuit of stepping into boxes to strap the box to our head. We strapped the screen to our face. This was a brilliant idea. It makes a lot of sense. We're closer to the place we want to be, which is inside the box, inside the thing that has the place we want to be. But unfortunately, not much has changed in the past 70 years. The evolution of this is still just a working version of this initial dream. I find it to be a somewhat underwhelming future, and I say this as someone that's actively working in virtual reality. So, where does this leave us, or where does this take us? A wiser person than I said, the electric light did not come about from the continuous improvement of candles. To me, no wiser words have been spoken, at least not during this talk, because those are the only words that are not my own. We have this obsession with boxes. We're either told that we're thinking inside the box and we need to get outside the box, or we're just boxed in by boxes, this concept of boxes. I'm staring at boxes now. There's all sorts of boxes around that I'm inside a box. I'm surrounded by myself inside of boxes. I've got a box in my hand. I've got a box in my pocket. I'm going to go type on a box. We've got this thing with boxes. I want to get away from this. Because the future of boxes, everyone wants to know. It's actually somewhat predictable. Everyone wants to know what the iPhone 11 is going to be like. I can tell you what the iPhone 13 is going to be like. It's going to be thinner. It's going to be faster. It's going to have a better camera. It's going to be a lot more money. This is going to go on forever. That's the future of boxes. So, in my mind, the cavemen were the true innovators. The cavemen were the true visionaries. The cavemen painted with no box because a box didn't exist. They painted from the mind's eye onto our world. They brought what they saw in their mind the best they could, using the earth itself as a medium. So, the future of entertainment, the future of anything, where does this take us? What's beyond now? What are the things we can't be? What are the things we can't predict? What's the future beyond boxes? Well, I can tell you that I'm the founder of a think tank that's developing a simulation of the universe. It's, you guessed it, a universe in the box. It's a universe in a box. It's a portable universe. Some call it something like a holodeck. If you're a fan of Star Trek, the dystopian version is something like the Matrix. But I have this idea that we should be able to go to this place together. naked eye simulation, meaning no wearable glasses, no anything, something that we could all walk into and share together, something that I could point to and that you could see just as the real world allows it. Using the convergence, this is a term that we've heard all day today, the convergence of segregated silos of future technology, those being AI, robotics, and metamaterials, and quantum computing. There are a number of novel techniques that have yet to be explored to really combine these into something that doesn't exist, something that is something that I can't point to. So, where is all this headed? What does this mean? Well, I think that the future is really the ultimate fulfillment of a promise made in the past. That is the desire and the hope to make our actual wishes come true, our actual dreams and desire. What we see here in our mind, undiluted. When I say picture the McDonald's arches, you're all able to do that. That theater of mind, to be able to bring that out into the real world, unedited, that's the future. The future is not wearing a screen. The future is reality. Thank you for your time.